Hello and welcome to the NXTPRO Show. It's Matt Reynolds here with you this week for our first edition as we're getting ready to get started for the 2025 season. But we wanted to first recap with the season that we had in 2024. So much has happened since then. We had so many players that are headed off to college and we're very proud of them. A lot that's going on all across the NXTPRO universe. So we're really excited. We've got a lot of great things this year. As you can see here in the studio that I'm in, there's a lot of different things we're going to be bringing you here this year on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear the good, the bad, the in-between. Let us know what you think. But ultimately, this channel is here, and you will see multiple shows to help you all get to know our league better, for college coaches to know the league better, for parents to be able to see their kiddos doing well, frankly, for the athletes to be able to get their shine every which way possible across the entire country. So, well, I should say beyond the country, because we do have teams this year from the United States, obviously all over, from Canada, from Australia, from Japan, from China, and I'm probably missing other countries, from Mexico. It's literally global at this point. So we're very excited about the Pro 16 NXTPRO circuit. This NXTPRO show is going to cover everything that there is in the league. But again, we wanted to start off with the first edition this week, talking to a few of our guests here today about what happened last year. So first guest up that we have is Kyle Unruh. He's a big part of our team based out of Kansas City, Kansas. And, Kyle, you look at what we had last year, there was so much, but I think we have to start with ultimately the champions. And we're not going to be able to go through every one, but I want to start on the NXTPRO side. Last year, we had a champion coming out of the state of Texas, Fam Elite. Fam Elite, really just a tremendous story. Jalen Finner was their lead guy. He's going to a Division I university, Louisiana Tech next year. Big season from him. And ultimately, their team gelled the right time, right place. They not only won the NXTPRO championship, though, they went all the way to the Elite 8 in the 17U Pro 16 bracket during the live period. So just had a phenomenal season, Kyle.
Yeah, that's you highlighted some of their accomplishments, and that's not easy to do. Coming from the NXTPRO side of our circuit, and they got a lot of attention. They captured a lot of our interest as they kind of went through the season. I remember seeing them in Phoenix, and just really being impressed with the way they were coached, the way their team played together. Had a great chemistry, great spirit. From their program. That was a really fun team to watch.
No doubt about it. Now let's get into several different topics with you here today. One of my favorite ones, though, is who was the team or player that you felt they didn't get enough credit? I'm sure they got some credit, but they didn't get enough.
Yeah, I've got a couple, Matt, and it's players. And I honestly got one from I thought about this, one from each class. I loved watching Nash Humphreys last year in that 2025 class. Nash ended up signing with Boise State, but he was just a really unassuming guard that physically he just doesn't jump off the page to you. But when you take the time to really watch his game, boy, he could just slice up most defenses, and fearless little player. And I think the basketball community across the country will hear a lot about Nash Humphreys next year in college. I'm also going to highlight a kid out of Kansas City Red Storm. He was a 2027 kid that was playing up on the 17 and underage division, so two grades up. Dalen Holman was his name. Fearless kid. You wouldn't have known he was 2 years younger, just the way he approached the game. And really don't think he got enough credit either. I would expect a lot of traction coming his way. He'll play up again this year as a 2027 kid playing on the 17 and underage division.
Oh, that's awesome. What was the favorite venue that you had? There was a lot of venues that we went to, a lot of great crowds. What was the atmosphere of the venue that you remember the most from 2024?
I've kind of got a toss up there, Matt. Obviously, our live periods were really exciting, and just with all the coaches in the gym, and certainly one of those was Wichita. And just the way Wichita is designed, it's kind of compact and kind of quaint. The courts are close together, and year in and year out, Wichita has been a great location for us that creates a lot of buzz and a lot of interest. And when you get marquee games, I mean, people are 4 or 5 deep, getting around that court and watching that game. They've also got a balcony there, so it's really fun to watch that. But the other one that we hadn't been to that I was really pleased to see was Memphis. I think that might have been the first location that we did some televised games at, and the games did not disappoint. So both of those, and we're going back to both of those again this year. So we're really excited to be in Memphis and Wichita again this year. But those two stood out along with our live period events as some that just created a lot of buzz, and we're excited to go back again this year.
Those two were some of the greatest, and I think you're right. Just the setups at both of those, like having the balcony, that's something that if you're building a gym, build it with a balcony, because if you have the balcony to have one, it's extra additional eyes that can see the court. And it really happened our first year in Wichita when AO Flight played one family, which seems like ages ago. You had Asa Newell and Lane Taylor going against each other, and the upset of the century that happened in our version of March Madness. I guess that was back in April of 2023. But that was the first time Wichita really had that with the balcony. There's probably 2,500 people watching that game, standing up all over. There's no room to see a game otherwise. So the balcony that's a key one. So again, if you're building a gym, maybe put that on the list. What's the memorable game for you of a player just having an outstanding game that sticks with you from a year ago?
Well, I probably my favorite of the season, Matt, is not going to be a big surprise to you or most anybody else, because we've hyped it up. But on this particular play, I was standing behind the scorer's table, and it was the dunk by Chris Cenac heard across the country, and I was behind the scorer's table. Kind of had a great angle to his angle to where he attacked the rim, but he inside it out, his matchup, and it looked like he was just going to make a physical drive to the basket and just get fouled and go to the free throw line. But I don't know, he was probably about the dotted line, and he rose up and he just went over everybody. It was a player maybe not to announce other than he will be at BYU next year, and just hammered it. And it was a showstopper, and that was kind of the play heard around the country, and it's not hard to find on our social media channels. But that was probably the one that I thought, okay, we've got some big boys playing on this circuit now.
That was the play, no doubt. That was the defining play, both for Chris, but also I think for the circuit as a whole. It was our most viral clip. He did dunk over Xavier State, and I appreciate you not trying to throw him under the bus. But if you've watched the documentary, folks, which you should if you haven't, John Hoyer and his team with the media team, Aiden Willock, they did a great job, the whole group, David Chisholm, that entire group, putting together that, led by John. And Xavier says in that, he even says, hey, I'm going to keep jumping. And I love that. That's the mentality you need to have as a big guy. If you're a shot blocker, you're going to get dunked on sometimes, but keep coming back and keep moving forward. Kyle, the last thing I'll ask you is this. We've got a big slate in 2025. First, you talk about the NXTPRO shoe. It's a really big thing. We've got our own shoe that you're a part of. I'm a part of. Everybody that works for us is a part of it. It's got our name on there. It's a very blessing that we've had from Puma. It's a blue shoe. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It is sold out. So sorry if you don't have it. Probably not a way to get it that I know of, at least. It's one of those exclusive items. We also have a Scoot shoe that's a Pro 16 edition. And then we'll have a summer shoe that's yet to be released. No images on that one yet. We're very excited. But there's a lot of things, beyond even the shoes. The talent level we feel like has risen. And the NXTPRO section has really grown in a talent level that I think they've come to respect. That NXTPRO section of the league is really, really talented at the top. And this year, frankly, Kyle, it appears that we have our most talented group we've ever had.
Yeah, we do, Matt. And, I'm really excited to get the season started. My whole kind of mission and purpose, and even being a part of what we do, is just to try and impact as many kids and families as possible. And we do that through working really hard to create exposure, both at live periods and when college coaches are around, but also in the way we just cover our events from a media and a scouting standpoint. You know, we were really excited that we had over 2,000 offers extended to kids that played on our circuit last year. And out of that, over 650 of those were to NXTPRO circuit kids. And, you know, that's really what drives me. And I think what honestly drives our company. Yeah, we're a business and we love the game of basketball, but at the end of the day, we're pretty mission driven, and the opportunity to impact as many kids and subsequently then their families is really what kind of gets us moving, and what we talk about a lot behind the scenes, and how to improve on that year in and year out. And so, you know, that's what's got me kind of buzzing here, you know, just a few days out before our first session, and it's what'll keep me moving and excited throughout the season.
I'm with you. We've got 9 straight weeks, ladies and gentlemen. 9 straight weeks starting this weekend. We're in 5 locations: Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Rockford, and Los Angeles. All major cities. Rockford, we're going to include you in the major cities, so you're welcome. We're bumping Rockford up, but we're really excited about it. And Kyle, you're exactly right. We had a great offer list. I think it's going to be even more this year. Just so much talent. And again, we're going to talk a lot about the Chris Cenacs and the Nik Khamenias and all the great players that we have in our circuit at the highest level. But this show is also to talk about the players that were like, you know, frankly, myself, someone that, you know, maybe is not going to the divisional level, but going to get opportunities, D2, NAI, JUCO, D3. Our mission at NXTPRO, and this goes for Pro 16, NXTPRO, anything we're doing is to help as many kids get to college as possible. And Kyle, you're a big part of that team. So appreciate your time, Kyle. Be safe on the road. Where are you headed this week? Tell folks where you're headed to.
Yeah, I'll be in Atlanta this week, Matt.
Very nice. Kyle is in Atlanta. So if you see him, say hello. And we appreciate your time again. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Next up, before we get to our next guest, we talk about some of those locations this week. Some things for you to look out for. In Dallas, we are going to have our first broadcast of the season that will be on YouTube right here on this channel. So take a look for that. It'll be on Friday night, and obviously you can go back and watch the game as it goes throughout. We're really excited about bringing that element of just a national broadcast from our airwaves. We'll have some games on Peacock, just as we did a year ago, and a lot more games on YouTube as well, which we've never done. So very excited about that. Just adds another layer of you know, a nationally televised national element to our games. And again, it comes down to trying to help our athletes maximize their opportunity. The live period for the boys' side, it's not until deep into May, so it is a little ways out, but we got to prepare. And the athletes, you know, playing their best as our circuit works. If you're new to it, just to describe it to you, we've got 16 teams that'll make it to the finals on the Pro 16 side. There's a total this year of 29 Pro 16 programs. So guess what that means? That means a lot of programs are going to miss it. There's only 16 that can make it at the end of the day. So if you're totaling that up, that means 13 if I'm doing my math right. It's been a long day, but I think it is 13 that will miss the finals. They'll play for those playing games. So 1 through 14, you're safe. 15, 16, you've got to be in the playing game. Similar to the NBA style, we you know, make you battle that out with the rest of the group that missed it. That will be in Richmond for the first edition of the Pro 16 finals, playing through that play-in bracket. And then obviously the finals of the Pro 16 are in Bryan, Texas. On the NXTPRO side, as a team, you can be in the top 16 and qualify for the Pro 16 finals. The top 14 are guaranteed their spots, 15 and 16, just like I said on the Pro 16 side. You're in the play-in, so you do get to go to the big tournament in Richmond, play in front of all the college coaches and have that great experience. But ultimately, you have to, you know, prove your element and battle that through. And then obviously you have the NXTPRO finals at each age. Every team that is a NXTPRO team will head to Orlando. It's going to be a fantastic big week. The largest grassroots tournament in the world is going to take place in Orlando. Over 1,800 teams will be battling it out to a champion, obviously each in their own age division. And your placement You might have some buys if you are able to take care of business and be one of those top seeds. If not, you're going to be battling it out. So the regular season truly matters in this, both to be in the Pro 16 finals and to be your best seed for the next Pro finals, to set yourself up for success. And ultimately, we'll be having, again, Pro 16 champions at each age, next Pro champions at each age. And we're very, very excited about it. My next guest, he's someone that you're going to want to see on the road and say hello to. He is the director of all of our scouting. His name is Trey Sterner. Trey, you've got a lot of scouts on your team. Obviously, big week for you guys. We're finally to the season. We're very excited about it. A lot of good things happening. You obviously lead that team, and what better way to kick off the season? Again, just like we did with Kyle, we're going to look back first and then project forward into the season. So looking back at last year, I think my most intriguing question maybe I have in the entire show is this one. I'm very interested in how you will answer this. Who of our prospects that are headed to college, that were in the last class, they've gone on and obviously are headed to college this fall, who's going to have the easiest transition as a player to the college game for success?
That's a very good question. I think that for me, it's Nik Khamenia. He's heading to Duke next year. I think that Nik's skill set is just so versatile. He's such a smart player. He knows where to be. He's always in the right spots. He has winning habits already. I think that for him, the next level is going to be just a continuation of what he's been doing. Obviously, the athleticism and the level of play is going to raise, but I think just the versatility he has and the level of skill and the almost, professionalism that he has, even as a high schooler, are going to set him up well next year. So I'm going with Nik.
That's a solid pick. Nik is not ranked the highest to end. Chris Cenac holds the title of that, but he's up there in the top 3 for sure, depending on where you're looking, whether that's On3, ESPN, or 247, the main 3 ranking sites on the boys' side. I can't disagree with you there. Nik's definitely up there. Going to Duke, I think he really bet on himself. It's a great program, but no playing time's guaranteed at a place like Duke, right? At the end of the day, he's going to have to go and earn it. Don't be shocked when Nik's doing big things at Duke, whether that's in a starting role or coming off the bench in a prominent role. The kid is a winner, and he's going to do really, really well. But the crazy part about the circuit last year, you could have went about 25 different ways, and I would have been like, all right, yeah, I see your point. I can see where you're at on that. Trey, let's break down somebody that's maybe outside the top 50. Obviously, we had inside that top 25 mold. You had Chris Cenac, you had Kingston Flemings, you had Nik Khamenia, Xavier Staten, you had Eric Ryby. Obviously, all those players, really high-level players, they're all top 25 guys. The next guys down that maybe aren't ranked as high as those guys, who is your pick to say, hey, you know what, this guy, he's just outside that top 50 mark. He is ranked, but maybe didn't get enough publicity, and he's going to surprise some people in college.
My pick here is Ian Inman. Ian played for Coos Elite out of Houston last year. He's heading to Colorado next year. I think that, he easily could have been a top 150 prospect, in my opinion, the way he played all summer and the number of coaches that he had following him and watching him all year. I think that he's really going to surprise people at the next level, even if it's not immediately next year. The way he shoots the ball, he was 40+% 3-point shooter this year in high school. He is just a flamethrower from beyond the arc. So I think that's going to set him up for success at Colorado and allow him to get a lot of easy buckets.
Hey, I love it. You could have, again, on that question, gone in a lot of different directions. Ian is a sharpshooter. And at the end of the day, that's what basketball is anymore. It has become if you can shoot the ball, you're going to go a long ways. And even the bigs these days can shoot. So if you're out there, kiddos, you better be working on the jump shot. No matter if you're 7 foot or if you're 5'10", you got to be able to shoot the ball to be effective. And he definitely can do that at a really high level. I'm excited to see what he does at the Big 12 at Colorado. You know what? Colorado, hey, we might need some jerseys or something. Get us something. I mean, we only have, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 guys there next year. So Bangot Dak has been there for a minute. He's doing really, really well. And then obviously he's going to be joined by Ian Inman and Isaiah Johnson. A lot of Buffaloes. So we'll be making some trips out to Boulder, I'm sure. Trey, as we look at, this class, we're obviously, really mainly focusing on the senior class that we had a year ago that's all headed to college. Jalen Finner is a name that, I really just wanted to give him his flowers. He obviously won MVP of the finals in the NXTPRO section, had an incredible season, and ultimately, led him to get that Division I look that he didn't have coming in. And he more than earned not just, that scholarship that he's going, but he had multiple offers because of just the way he not just played, but it wasn't so much, hey, I got to go score 30. It was, hey, I'm going to make everybody better around me. And he really had a great overall season.
Yeah, absolutely. Jalen's a winner. Great athlete. He plays above the rim. He's definitely going to give you some of those highlight plays, but also love his effort on the defensive end. He can guard multiple positions. He's always in the right spots. He knows how to make a pass for someone else and makes the right play when he needs to. So he's exciting. He's going to be a difference maker at Louisiana Tech for sure.
What was the most intense game that you yourself watched? Don't pick a game if you weren't there. You have to be there, but if you were there, what was the most intense, competitive, just fun atmosphere that you remember from a year ago?
Yeah, my mind goes straight to Memphis. It was a pair of games. Both of them, TLBA was involved. One was their game against Coos Elite. One was their game against BTI. Both of those games, I mean, it couldn't have been more packed around that court. And just the level of intensity all game. You could tell all those teams wanted to win. And then obviously Eli Ellis stopped the show with back-to-back game winners. But there were times in both those games where they easily could have went down, and the crowd was just so into it. It was fun to see all the younger kids packed around, kind of getting to watch the stars like Eli and Nick and Xavion and Tyrus just battle it out on that floor. So those were by far the best atmospheres, in my opinion, of the year.
Listen, if you haven't watched the documentary on that episode, I believe it's called The Book of Eli. You got to go watch it because I've been doing this a long time, well over a decade. I've never seen a kid do what he did, not once, but twice. It was absolutely incredible what Eli was able to do that, and he had a great year. They had an unfortunate loss early on in the tournament for the finals, but he had an awesome year. Wish him all the best at South Carolina, just coming off an OTU championship that he recently just won, as well as MVP. No shock to any of us here. He's a hooper. Yes, he's got a lot of followers, but we'll forever say Eli can ball, and he's definitely someone to take note of. All right, looking forward to this year, Trey. Obviously, like I said, you're our director of scouting. You've got all the scouts headed out and about. You yourself are also headed somewhere. But before we get into where you're headed, why don't you just break down for people? We've got the biggest scouting team, I think, frankly, of anybody probably in the country at this point. And as they, go out, what are some things that people should be on the lookout for that are a little different this year?
Yeah, we've got a team of 50 plus scouts heading out, this weekend and all the weekends of the season. So our hope is that we cover as many games and as many courts as possible. I would look for, awesome coverage on social media. They're going to be shouting out players left and right, grabbing players for player of the game pictures after the fact. We'll be getting tons of coverage out on our website, nextprohoops.com. If you're not subscribed there, get to nextprohoops.com and subscribe. That's where all of our scouts' work, their writing is going to go. That's where all my writing is going to go. With that and social media, you really get the 1-2 punch and can paint a good picture of a player's game.
What are you most looking forward to this season? That's what we'll wrap up on. Same question I ended with Kyle. There's a lot to look forward to. 9 straight weeks before we take a short break in June and hit 4 more in July. A lot of basketball getting ready to be played.
100%. I think one is like we were talking about, my team of scouts. I think we have a really awesome group of guys that really just want to do this for the kids and want to find those under the radar guys that we like to try to help get to the next level. And two, my favorite part of every summer is finding those hidden gems, finding the Ian Edmonds and the Isaiah Medinas and the Mason Abbotons that had great stories last year that really shot up in, their recruiting attention and even in some cases the national ranking. So finding those hidden gems is kind of my favorite part of the job and what I look forward to getting started in Seal Beach.
Who will be the next Isaiah Medina, first ever NXTPRO player that went from outside any of the rankings to inside, not just the top 100, but inside the top 75. He ended up going to DePaul. And that's what this is about. Again, there's different levels to every player, but that is life-changing opportunities. And that is a thing that our staff is just, we remain very, very passionate about it and very excited. And your team is a very big part of that, Trey. I'll end with this. Who is the MVP favorite for Pro 16 heading into the season for you?
Ooh, that is a tough question. I think, the team that I'm most excited to see is a newcomer to our league, Trey Man Elite. They're led by Tony Bryant Jr. I think he is my early favorite. I think that he can follow kind of in the footsteps of Chris Cenac and really just blow up in the national scene this summer and make a huge difference in his attention and his recruitment. So I'm going to go with Tony Bryant Jr., but there's a ton of high level talent coming down the pipe. So I am very excited.
Trey, you made one person really happy with that statement and a lot of other kids motivated. So congratulations. You heard it here first. If you weren't listed there, then, let Trey know if you end up winning the MVP that, hey, I'm that guy. But Tony is our highest ranked player heading into the year. So that was a safe pick for sure. I think other candidates, I'll throw out a few names. Caden House is definitely going to be one 5-star prospect that he's going to put up some points. We'll see everything else that he's able to do. I'm very excited about his group high major. They're also new to the circuit this year. Alex Costanza returns and seems like a man on a mission. Just talked to him yesterday. We had media day here in our studios here in Oklahoma City, and boy, oh boy, I think he's ready and prepared. Sam Funches is a new addition. Once upon a time was a 5-star kid, is now in the 4-star range, and we think he's got a chance to go right back up. The list goes on and on and on, but I'll end with one that might just do it. Quincy Wadley. Just remember that name, Quincy Wadley. He's had some injuries, the past year and a half or so. He's coming back healthy. I think he's got an opportunity to really, and I mean really, really flourish. But again, I could be here all day because we've got a list legitimately when we talk about Pro 16 MVP of probably about 30 players, whether it's the Placide twins, Aiden Chronister. I mean, the list goes on and on. I know I'm going to leave off somebody, and you can take it as motivation. But there is a lot to look into, and we're really excited about it. So, Trey, thanks again so much. Keep your scouts locked in. I know you will. And if you see Trey and his scouts on the road, say hello. Tell them thank you for what they do. They do a great job trying to get as many, whether it's, I guess you still call them tweets, even though it's X now, but whether it's tweets, which follow them on X, or post on Instagram, or post on, obviously, the website, nextprohoops.com. What's going on the website? End with that. Let them know where they need to go.
Yeah, nextprohoops.com. We've got coverage for every region, West, Midwest, East. It's split up on there. So you can get a regional subscription. You can get a national subscription. You can go monthly, yearly, really kind of customizable to what you want to see on there. And then obviously our girls coverage is going to be huge this year. So I'm excited to really get girls coverage rolling this weekend. They'll be in Rockford and Seal Beach, and we'll have scouts at each location that are watching those girls prospects and keeping us updated on the website. So be sure to head there, check it out. It's also got our schedule and links for our host cities. So lots of great information on there. Be sure to tap in. And I would be remiss if I didn't say an MVP candidate that from a team that is always slept on, Select Basketball. Ethan Harris is someone that I think is going to have a huge summer that might be a sleeper MVP candidate.
All right, that's a deep pull, Trey. That's a deep pull. That was a 40-footer. We'll see if it goes in or not at the end of the season. But we know this. Select is always a dangerous team. They made the finals a year ago. Speaking of that, we'll recap with this. Here's our MVPs from last year. Isaiah Medina was the NXTPRO regular season MVP. Again, we mentioned him a little bit earlier, headed to DePaul. Just an outstanding young man, big man that changed his life in our league and really showed his talents very well. Jalen Finner was the MVP of the NXTPRO finals, being able to take home victory in Lincoln, Nebraska. That tournament moved to Orlando. We're very excited about that. We're going to end the season in the sun. Hopefully it won't be too hot, but don't worry, we'll be in the air conditioning. And then Chris Cenac. What a showing. He was fabulous all year long. He was our MVP for the regular season of the Pro 16. And Nik Khamenia, what do you know, wins another thing. He won 2 gold medals last summer, but he also won, most notably, the Pro 16 Finals Championship, taking home that trophy as well as the finals MVP. Who will be the finals MVP next year? Who will be the MVP this upcoming season for NXTPRO and Pro 16? Only you may know, but we will be very excited to track that throughout the season. We're going to have coverage from all over. Trey mentioned the girls circuit. This is the first year of a full girls circuit getting off the ground, just like the boys did 3 years ago. And we're very, very, very excited about that. Just was watching Cora, one of the outstanding players that is on our NXTPRO circuit on the girls' side, play at Stewie 30, and she was awesome. So there's a ton of talent rising on the girls' side. And on the guys' side, obviously, the ball just continues to roll downhill with a lot of prospects, both in the NXTPRO section and Pro 16 section, doing very well. Check back with us next week. We will have this show for you every single week. Coming up next week, we'll be covering Rockford on the girls' side. We'll be covering Los Angeles on the girls' and boys' side. We're covering Atlanta and Boston and Dallas. And again, subscribe to our YouTube. Check it out. There's so much good stuff going on there that our team has going on. We've got a big team of videographers and photographers that are going out there each and every weekend. We want to see the best. And hey, look, if we miss it, we'll have top 10 plays on this show. Send it in to us. I doubt we're going to miss it, but in case we do, you can always tag us at Pro 16 League, at NXTPRO Hoops. Keep just tagging us so we can see it. There's so much content, and we cannot wait to bring a great season to you. I'm Matt Reynolds. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.